Alright, today we're going to be replacing the spark plugs, the spark plug wires of my 2014 Sierra. Now keep in mind that the process we go through here today is going to be the same or similar on a lot of other vehicles, so even if you don't have a Sierra, or Silverado, or Tahoe, or Yukon, go ahead and watch the video, it might help you out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace the first one with you. I'll show you how to remove the heat shield over the coil packs and whatnot, but then I'm just going to go ahead and replace them, and what I'll do is I'll just kind of fire up the camera as I run into things that I think you need to know, like if any spark plugs require something different, okay? And as always, I'm going to link to all the parts and tools that I use down below, so go ahead and check those out, alright? Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, we have Connor out in the garage helping us out today, overseeing the operation. I'm just using this little step stool. Now I do want to mention that some people have found apparently that it's easier to remove this fender well. I'm not going to do that. I've just got an old comforter here, and when I step up on the stool here, I've got plenty of reach, okay? And this side here looks like it's going to be pretty easy. On the passenger side, the far, or the one that's closest to the firewall, looks like you might need to use a universal, but we'll find out when we get there, okay? First thing we're going to do is remove the oil fill cap, and then this breather tube here, and I'm going to set the camera down and get started. Alright, on the underside of this connection, there's a place to push. You push up and then out, and this one hasn't been off since I did my catch can, but it came right off, okay? And on the bottom it's the same thing, but we're going to have to spin it around. Hopefully you can see. I'm going to push with my finger. Okay, just set that aside. Now this heat shield here, and again, if you're not replacing your spark plug wires, it's not necessary to do this, but because I'm doing the wires and the plugs, we need to pull this. Alright, we'll pull the dipstick here. Alright, when you go to remove the spark plug boot, you don't want to pull on the wire. You want to grab a hold of the boot as much as possible, and with the heat shield it makes it kind of tough. If you have a tool like this, it makes life a little easier, but for many years I didn't have one. Okay, I try to wiggle it. Okay, just like that. Now we can remove it from the coil pack as well, since we're replacing it. But if you're not replacing the wires, it's not necessary. You just leave it hanging there. Try to get you a shot here. Okay. Next, before I remove the spark plug, I'm just going to hit it with some compressed air, just to knock any loose debris out of there, in case there's anything floating around. We don't want it to fall into the cylinder. Alright, for this spark plug, I'm going to use this magnetic spark plug socket. It's 5/8 inch, and it's got sort of a built-in extension and universal. It's not as flexible as a universal, but it does give you some play. And I'm going to put that onto the spark plug and make sure it's on all the way. Hit that with my ratchet here, 3/8 inch, and see if we can just break it loose. Now these are from the factory, so I would expect they would have used anti-seize. Now, sometimes people put these in and they over torque them, and they don't use anti-seize, and you can run into problems. You can actually twist these off. So I don't expect to have any issues like that today, but famous last words, right? Okay, so I'm just going to pull this out of here. And we'll take a look at the new plugs. They should be pre-gapped, but we'll double check. And we'll also verify that our cables are correct. And I do have other spark plug sockets. Again, I'll link to these parts below, but I like the magnetic sockets. The old ones, the ones I have used for years and years, have rubber boots inside of them, and they work just fine, but sometimes those boots fall out. Okay? It'd be interesting to see how much that gap has opened up. My truck has about 104,000 miles, so we're a little overdue on these. But the plug itself looks good. You want to keep an eye open to see if there's any burn or oil. That's pretty clean for 104,000 miles, and I don't believe they've ever been done. Alright, let's go open up the new package. We'll compare the cable we just removed. We'll verify the gap, put the new one in. Alright, so we've got our new spark plug here, and incidentally I'm just using the OEM 41-114 Delco. I've had mixed results using compatible spark plugs in the past, so I typically just go with the OEM. Okay, these are pre-gapped at 40 thousandths of an inch. The manual specs that you know the acceptable gap is 37 thousandths to 43 thousandths, so 40 is right in the middle there. Just gonna take my feeler gauge. I have a 10 and a 30. Press it together nice and tight, and just slide it in there. You should actually feel a little bit of resistance. You don't want to force it, but you want that gap to be right there. Okay. You can also use a tool like this, but this one you can see is kind of rusty, and I have a hard time seeing the numbers now. But typically I just use this to gap if I need to adjust the gap, or you know, if I need to clean up a spark plug. It's got a little brush on it, but I have a hard time seeing the numbers now. But these are actually pretty nice. A feeler gauge obviously have a lot more variance in terms of what you can gap, but these usually suffice and have a gap size in the range that you need. Okay, I'll link to all these parts as well as the tools below. Alright, so what we're going to do now is going to apply a little bit of anti-seize toward the top portion of the threads. I don't want to get it down here near the electrode, so kind of the top third, maybe half to third of the spark plug threads. Alright, now with the spark plug wires, one nice thing about having individual coil packs is we no longer have to mess with all the different lengths and running them back to the distributor cap and potentially losing track of which one goes where, so that's nice. The new wires right within the spark plug boot, you can see it came with some dielectric grease. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. I've got a piece of 3/8 inch fuel line. Just going to stick it, it seems to be the right size. I'm going to stick it over the porcelain of the spark plug, okay? And so the premise here is when I go to get this started, if it's not threaded correctly, and I'm just spinning on the fuel line, it should slip. Right, it's not going to cross thread the spark plug into the block. Now if I have a ratchet on there and I start just kind of winding it in, I could cross thread it. So the idea is it's just a little safety mechanism, and once you get it threaded and you know it's threaded correctly, you switch over to your ratchet and we'll torque it down. Alright, let's go ahead and get this thing installed. Alright, here we go. I'll try not to block the shot too much. This is probably the easiest one because I can actually see the threads. Alright. It is threaded, and it's threaded correctly. We'll just go in as far as we can here, just because things are going so smoothly. That's it. Now we'll pull the fuel line off. I did shorten that a little bit for this one as well. Let me grab my torque wrench. Alright, so this is one of those cases where having a smaller torque wrench would be nice, and I do not have one. The measurement in the manual is 132 inch-pounds, which is only 11 foot-pounds of torque, okay? I'm going to use this, I do have a Harbor Freight 3/8 inch torque wrench, but I don't know how accurate it is. So I'm going to use this Tecton. I've got it dialed in at 11, which is pretty low. And we'll see how we do. I'm going to try to square it up. That's it. Okay, that right there, 11 foot-pounds. Okay, 132 inch-pounds. I'm probably going to buy a 3/8 inch torque wrench that measures in inch-pounds right after this video. I'll link to it at the bottom. Alright, let me grab the new spark plug wire. There it goes. You felt it. Well, you heard it snap in. I felt it snap in. Okay, and then you can actually kind of tell the direction that you want. You can spin it. We'll take our heat shield, slide it over the spark plug boot, and then we'll slide that down over the spark plug carefully. And you can see that that would be the wrong angle. We want to keep this off the manifold, so I'm just going to stick my other hand down here, make sure we have that on nice and tight. And we do. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on. I believe all of these are going to be basically the same. And then I'll check in with you when it comes time to remove the heat shield on the other side, which basically should be the same process, but we'll take a look at the spark plugs on the other side. These ones should be all straightforward. Alright, just want to check in here. I wanted to show you on this spark plug here. I did use another small 3/8" extension. Basically the tool I was using, this socket with the built-in swivel extension, comes right out at the steering shaft, so another little extension got my ratchet out beyond that. So, but other than that, it's been smooth going here. Alright, so we're cooking with gas here. I wanted to show that you can see on the spark plug wires, there's a white dot on the up position on each coil pack. Okay, so I've got this last one threaded in. I've got to torque it down and get the spark plug wire on. Now I do want to mention that somebody had posted a video saying that the easiest way to do this was to remove this inside fender well. I can say with certainty it's not necessary for this side. This side was pretty straightforward. Alright, so we're on the passenger side here. Let's take a look. We've got those two heater core hoses kind of in the way, but those shouldn't be too bad. That one back there looks tight. Okay, so what we're going to do, same deal here, we're going to remove our breather tube, which is right there. See if I can do it one-handed. Alright, let me get the camera positioned. We'll pop this out. Alright, so there's no fill cap on this side, so let's just pull up on the heat shield to see what we get. Alright, that's not too bad. That right there is probably all we need. Alright, just checking in with you here. Just wanted to show you what I do is wire these heater core tubes up out of the way. Just they pull right off this bracket. There's a little compression tab. Just squeeze it together, pop it off, and I just wired them up out of the way. Now I have pretty good access. Okay, see, I'm onto that second spark plug. Alright, so here we are on the final spark plug. You can see I've already got the coil side of the spark plug wire off. I've got my double offset spark plug boot pliers, and we're going to see if we can get that boot off for starters. Probably blocking the view. Alright. Alright. Let me see if I can get a socket on it. Alright, so I've got it broken free. And I don't want to jinx it, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it might have been. Certainly not worth pulling the wheel well out, for me anyways. What I've got is a standard 3/8 universal. This one happens to be impact, but I'll show it to you here in a second. And then just a short extension like we used on the other side. Again, I'm going to list all these parts down below. See if I can get that out of there here. Now, one thing is, this socket that I'm using is not magnetic. It's got the rubber boot, and it's kind of worn. So I do not want to drop the spark plug. So once I get this out of here, I'll call this one done. I'll put it back together, start the vehicle. And I do want to mention, though, also, when I don't know if I'm going to be able to torque this one down, but I've been torquing just a little bit more to compensate for the fact that we're using the swivel. My experience has been when you're using a swivel or a universal, you're going to hit your torque a little sooner because of the angle. Let's take a look. There it is. All right. So I'm using a standards 5/8 inch spark plug socket. And again, I'll link to this as well as the other one down below. It's got a rubber boot in there. This magnetic ones, the newer ones are all magnetic, I think. That's a standard 3/8 inch universal. And then just a short extension. All right, I'm going to put this back together, start it up, take it for a test drive. Hopefully this video's been helpful. Give me that thumbs up if you did find it helpful. And if you're not a subscriber and you want to see more of this type of stuff, hit that subscribe button for me. I post all kinds of videos, ATV repair, auto repair, home improvement, tech, you name it, I do it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Leave questions and comments below, and have fun.